So this is the iRobot Combo i5, and this is basically an i3 with a mop pad. iRobot has the iRobot i3 EVO, and this is basically the iRobot i3 with a update on the Genius software. And this is coming with 10x power of the 694 entry model from iRobot, and it uses basically the same system as the more advanced J7, but it doesn't have the front-facing camera, and it doesn't have that AI detection. So there's no no-go zones here, there's no mopping, but what iRobot is doing is that they're doubling down. So instead of changing their i3, because they're like, well, our pathing and our software is so good, iRobot is doubling down by adding in just a mop pad and calling it an i5. Let me explain to you why this is important if you are looking at getting an i3 or an i4. Because even if you look at the i3 and the i4 is the same as the i3, just with a larger battery. There's no difference. That battery is just 20% larger. We open both of them and everything else. All the parts are the same. So this is what the unboxing of the i5 will look like. You're getting this, which is going to say iRobot Roomba. iRobot Roomba. It's different from here, which says iRobot Roomba i3. If you look at the overall model and you look at the details of each Robovacuum, well, they are identical in every way. Every way. I don't see any difference here, at least physically. The covers are the same. The button layout is the same. The wheels are going to look the same. If you go to the back part, the only difference is that this has black side brush. This has a white side brush. Where you will see the difference is, though, you will see that they have come now by updating their charging port. So the charging port on an iRobot has been updated. It's a little bit more slick in design here. So it has a more rounded slope. But other than that, pretty much standard affair. This is the floor protective tray that they put in the box, and you're going to be attaching the charging base to it. What does that mean for you? If you wanted to add mopping into your i3 now, instead of having to get a different or get an add-on unit like a M6, what you would do is just take out the existing dustbin, and then you could add in the new mop pad. That's on the existing i3. But that interchangeability also works because you can do the same thing just by adding it to the i5. So the i3 and the i5 are basically the same. They have the same mapping, they have the same app experience. The only real difference comes down to the i5 is coming with the mop pad. So I'm really curious, what are they going to do with the software here? What are they going to do? So they're going to be able to update it, and that's what iRobot is really going for. They're saying the unit itself does everything we want it to do. The detection is going to be as good as we can get it, but what we want to adapt is we want to continuously roll out updates using our software so that your product improves and you don't have to do anything. It just gets a software update and it can suddenly have new features. And that's where I think they're going with the i5. It is not so that they're trying to get the best tech inside of the product, but it's really to improve their existing lineup, like on their existing i3, and you have the ability to upgrade it as well. I've had my i3 for 2 years now. I have an i3 EV, I have the i3 EVO, the i3, i5, i7, J7, J7 Plus, J5, J9, and S9 with the M6 and the 694, 692, 674, and the 860. So there's a lot of iRobots we've been able to try out and test and own. So this is my i3. The i3 looks like this underneath. It has the white brush roll. The new i5 just has the mop pad attachment. Remove the pad, wash it yourself. There's no self-emptying here. This is going to be coded, so it's going to be corresponding. It will only work with your iRobot here. And this is the tank system. The tank system is not huge. I think this is like 300 or 400 milliliter. And it can also vacuum at the same time. So what I wish iRobot on the i5, just like the J5, I wish what they did on these combo units is that the floor protector, they have kind of like a little floor protector plastic piece that you're going to be putting with your charging base. And I wish they made that thicker or raise the edges, because if there's a lot of solution on your mop pad, it's going to leak on your floor because there's nothing stopping it from the water going off and running down onto your floors on your i5 or your J7. So the only difference when it comes to the J5, the i5, the i3 outside of some of the mapping features between the i5 and the J5 is that if you're getting it on the Plus, you're getting the self-emptying bin. They're going to give you a tank instead of the dustbin looking like this. It's going to look like that. So that means you have the self-emptying port, still the same self-emptying bin as before. And if you want to mop, they're giving you the bin with a water tank and a mop pad. That is the only difference between the i5 and the i3 that we can see, including the i5 Plus and the i3 Plus. There's no front-facing camera on your i5. This is not using front-facing detection. There's no AI detection here. There's mapping, but there's no no-go zones. There's no virtual walls. There's none of the more advanced mapping features you would get with that front-facing camera or with the more advanced software package that iRobot puts inside of their i7s, their J7, their S9. They could put it inside of here. They can. It can exist because this motor, it's the same motor you have in the J7. Like the suction power is the same, battery life is pretty much the same, or everything else is pretty much the same. The i4 is going to have a little bit more battery life, but it really comes down to is that they need to price point this differently than the J5 and the J7. So what they did is there's no front-facing camera. This is none of the virtual walls and the more advanced mopping or mapping features. But honestly, what they're doing is that they're just allowing you to upgrade your current existing i3 to an i5 just by changing out the tank. So that's one of the biggest secrets here that a lot of people don't know. There's no real upgrade in hardware. It is more so that they're just changing some of the bins around, and then hopefully in the future, they're going to be upgrading the software between the i3, the i5, the J5, and the J7s. If you want to compare the i5 to the J5 as well as the J7 combo that you see here, well, the main difference is that the J7 combo is coming with an automatic mop pad. So that means it's just going to go up when you're not using it and go down when it wants to be in use on a hard floor. But for mopping specifically, because these systems are not coming with those advanced mop stations that can not only dry but also clean your mop pads and remove them when they're not in use, and they don't have the same overall mopping system where they don't have sonic mopping. If you're looking at the Robovacs, they don't have like rotating mop pads like if you look at the Bissells. There's just some features that I feel like are missing specifically here. And that's my point. I think, in my personal opinion, the i5 is my favorite out of all the mops that iRobot is doing. And that's because it's the most affordable. And to be honest, it's just like the J5, except it doesn't have the front-facing camera. But for mopping, it doesn't really need that. And with that, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. We will get back to you. And please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is David with the French Glow, signing off. Bye, bye, bye.